Now, this said, I didn't leave the house, but it says I don't know for sure, because I didn't know for sure what we did that night, but I think we just watched TV, but it just kind of, you know,
yeah, however you want me to put it. I forgot a form that I gotta go grab.
Okay.
Just give me 1 second.
Sure.
From the first seconds, the room sinks into a heavy silence. Outside, the night grows darker, while inside, every word and breath carries the weight of secrets waiting to surface.
More than landscaping, but we don't have like backhoes and.
Oh no.
There's a bobcat that we have a friend that we'll get kind of in there, but.
Okay, so you kind of know what's going on, obviously, unfortunately, right?
Yeah.
Tough situation. How are the kids handling it?
They're taking it really well. I mean, I'm not sure if it's completely sunk in. They're just kind of more distracted, and right now I've been living at my parents' house, so it's been kind of nice for them, and
sure.
you know, I can be free to work and they can take care of them. But yeah, they're pretty strong kids. So
yeah, when they came in for the DNA thing, they seemed pretty strong and seemed to kind of understand what was going on and whatever. So
yeah, we're a pretty Christian family, so you know they understand that they can talk to her, you know, here and there. We've been praying more every night, and but yeah, it's still been.
Imagine. So it's my understanding you guys had a pretty good relationship as far as, I mean, as good as you can expect with being an ex and all. So I guess basically it's my understanding no one really has talked to you at all about that. You know, and obviously in situations like this, it's important to get everyone that's close with hers information.
Yeah.
Find out, you know, if there's possibly anything they knew at all about other outside things, other factors in her life or anything like that. I understand you being an ex, maybe not as much information, but I mean, you're in contact with her a lot.
Yeah.
Would be my guess because of the kids and stuff. So what's your guys' normal relationship like as far as for the kids go?
I'd have them on the weekends. She have them weekdays, so
Okay.
I drop them off at school. Sometimes I drop off, you know, their instruments or something on a Monday morning.
He recalls his children with a fragile voice. Despite pain, they remain resilient, finding strength in faith and nightly prayers, a small light against overwhelming shadows.
Occasionally we talk for a little bit because, you know, I've been having issues with, you know, the divorce, and I want to get out dating. I've been on one date in 3.5 years since we've been divorced, so I've been kind of down and, you know, talking with her, and I felt like she was at least, you know, someone I could really talk with here and there. And then Fridays, usually pick up the kids from school, but occasionally I'd, you know, get them from her house or Doug's house, and or pick up, you know, something I needed before I got the kids. And that's pretty much it. There's a couple of times where, you know, we hung out with the kids, and you know, like on New Year's we went out to lunch, and but that was probably 2-3 occasions, you know, since we've been divorced. So.
And how long has that been? 3.5 years?
We separated in August of 2012.
Okay, so yeah,
August, September-ish. Yeah,
so these 4 years coming up here.
Yeah.
Did she ever tell you anything about Doug?
Not a whole lot. I found out more about him, you know, from other people, and my brother, his wife is a friend that's very close friends with his ex, and knew that he was beating her.
Okay. And
apparently her father was a police officer, and I don't know her name, but apparently she was beaten so bad that she actually had to call. I'm not sure if it was a dad picked her up or a friend that picked her up, but she didn't file a report because she was scared for her life.
Okay.
And apparently we heard that he was, you know, a fighter in high school, and I just met him once. That was when she was at the apartment before she moved to Parker there. And I just shook his hand and said, "Nice to meet you." That was about it. And then one other time he was just on the couch when I was, you know, picking up some stuff, and I think he said bye or something. So, yeah, I don't really know him that well. I had a friend of a friend that used to kind of hang around with him here and there, just, you know, cookouts. They were in a duplex on the other side. He was friends with a guy on the other side of the duplex, and yeah, he seemed like a nice guy. And I asked my kids about him, you know, if you ever hit him. They said no, barely even, you know, yelled at him. There was a couple times where he, you know, scolded him for, you know, but I guess he was a little controlling. He didn't let a lot of toys because he was trying to sell the house. So I understand you don't want toys laying around, though. Yeah.
Okay.
But, I mean, Michaela has this little loom band thing, these little rubber band bracelets that she makes, and she put it in a box. She thought it was just going, you know, away, and it went to storage. So there's just little things that...
Suspicion sharpens when violent stories emerge. A past marked by abuse and fear paints Doug as unpredictable, leaving cracks in the fragile peace around the victim's life.
My brother actually helped me write down a couple of things I want to make sure I brought up, and so I didn't forget anything. I know the kids mentioned they heard Nicole say that Doug doesn't trust himself.
Trust himself?
Yeah, like, because he knows he has a temper.
Okay.
And the other thing was they heard him. They were sleeping and they heard him fighting, and they woke up from it. I don't think they got up, but they could hear some fighting, and apparently like a picture was broken and a phone case was broken, and in the morning they didn't even get it cleaned up before the morning. The kids walked downstairs and there's glass on the floor.
Okay.
So it's like, I don't know exactly what happened there. I don't know why they're probably both so mad that they didn't bother cleaning it up. And
what would they fight over, do you know?
I don't know. I asked the kids, and they couldn't. I mean, they're fighting and
Right.
swearing. And we did hear that she could have had a relationship with one of his friends.
Really?
Which would have given a lot of motive.
Which friend is
And
that?
I don't know. And they actually reported on the news that she took a paternity test. So we weren't even sure if it was, you know, his kid. We're kind of in one way hoping. Yeah, Channel 2 ran that she took a test, and then when I talked to Heather about it, she's like, oh no, she filed for it, but then she never took it. And then last time I talked to Heather, she said that it was done, and Doug is the father. So Heather was kind of disappointed in that. Well, she doesn't want to think her sister do that, but when we were married, and she went to a party and made out with another guy. So she cheated on me. Yeah, it's not an affair, but she didn't understand that it was wrong, and
she may not make the best decisions.
Yeah, she was always very wild, very free-spirited. I mean, we were down in Florida for a family vacation. We had a little fight or whatever, and she went off with like 3-4 Jamaican guys for like 3-4 hours. Just like, I mean, he had no idea what, you know, they could have done to her. And she's just always like that, she just thought she was invincible.
Right.
Very, very reckless. And apparently we did know that they were fighting that night. They, you know, were at that concert, and then they split off, and then I guess they were at Jekyll and Hyde. And they
told you that?
I think it was Heather, because they talked to some of the bartenders there, and the bartender said, yeah, I saw those two fighting in here. And then...
How long was that?
Rumors swirl from bars and alleys. Fights, broken glass, betrayals. Witnesses conflict, lies mix with half-truths, while investigators chase fragments of reality in a fog of deception.
Right after.
No, it was pretty much right after.
Well, because we followed up on that, and they had a complete different description of the people after the fact.
Oh, okay.
So I don't believe that was the case. It was just one bar patron that said, yeah, I thought I saw him in here arguing or whatever.
Yeah, you don't know how loaded they were.
Right, and there's a lot of misinformation out there as far as rumors and stuff go. You know, there's surveillance cameras of them or of at different bar, sardine can. But not anywhere else. Not that we know of.
Yeah, like Jekyll and Hyde was right down the road or something.
Right.
Yeah, because I know Doug wasn't at Sardine Can, so that's why I was a little confused on why he was there. Because I heard that her and it was Doug's friends tried to get Nicole into a cab, and then she was just throwing a fit. I guess she was like laying down the street, like kicking her feet up. They were trying to get her, you know, corralled, and
Is this all stuff you heard from Heather? Do you know any of her other friends?
Well, the one person that, I don't know, Sean, my brother Sean is, he's really, worried, and he wants to make sure we have everything covered. Have you talked to Dallas yet? Because she was the one watching, and apparently, Doug and a friend, I don't know if it was a friend or it was a brother showed up there. It was a friend, right?
Yeah.
They showed up there, and then they were just, she asked where Nicole was, and he's like, oh, kind of
Right.
wasn't acting normal. And it was it found that he was on, we heard that he might have been on coke and other drugs that night too?
That I don't know.
Okay. And then we did hear from Steve Meyer, that he thought that his parents are, very wealthy, might have bought off a couple other women too to stay silent, that he beat too.
Sure.
So
we've reached out to a lot of people in his life, and a lot of people have come forward since then. There's some things that we're still trying to answer as far as her timeline goes. So it has us, in a little bit of a guessing game here. I shouldn't say guessing game, but just a little bit of unknown. So that's kind of what we're trying to fill in. When's the last time you heard from her then?
It was on Friday when I talked to her and got the kids, because did they have school that day? I think she picked them up from school, and then I picked them up around 4 or 5.
From her house?
Yeah, well, Doug's house, yeah.
Doug's house?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I think it was the night after. Yeah, it must have been the night after that Vicki called me and, have you heard from Nicole? And I'm like, no, didn't think anything of it. And then a couple hours later, the sheriff shows up.
Nicole's last night lingers in mystery. A phone gone silent, plans never revealed, and friends left behind, all forming a timeline full of gaps no one dares to explain.
Did you have any clue what they were doing Friday night? Did she tell you at all, or did she kind of...
Well, she originally said she wouldn't be able to pick up the kids from school because she had plans.
Okay.
And then that changed, so she must have plans earlier and then still planning to go to the concert, because the concert probably was not till, 7 or 8. So I don't know if she was just going to go out with a friend beforehand or what it was, but whatever those plans were, she either got pushed back or canceled.
Okay.
She didn't say what. She didn't even mention that she was going to the concert.
That's what I was going to say. So she didn't tell you what her plans were or anything like that?
Yeah, I never, talked to her. It was more, when I talked to her, it was more about I never asked, I was curious to see, how her and Doug were doing,
Sure.
if they were in love, but I didn't really want to know, because I've been really depressed myself, so part of me wishes, maybe I should, but she probably wouldn't open up to me anyways.
Yeah.
She probably wouldn't have reached out for help, and I don't know, if this was really the first incident.
Right.
And I know from being married with her, she was, she could really provoke you. And I never, struck her. I was, raised never hit women, but, there was a couple times where she could really push her buttons. And, we've had contact with, I know this is not permissible in court, but a couple, mediums, and, we had one medium in Florida. He had just kind of randomly called one of my dad's friends and said, I have this girl, Nicole, reaching out to me. I don't know what this is about, but she's like, or I'm not sure if it was a guy or girl even, but they said that his name starts with a D, and like, was it Doug? And like, no, it was someone else too. So we were just, I know you guys are looking into a second person along with Doug, and beyond.
Yeah.
It's,
yeah,
you gotta
keep everything open, because you can't narrow it on one person, and there is that gap in the timeline. So but you're not the first person that I've heard that said that mediums have contacted their family. That's kind of a common thing.
Yeah.
Where these people will see it in the news, and they'll reach out to family and friends of victims to try and, whatever. And I'm not saying I don't take any value in it, but
Yeah.
Yeah. Forget who else it was that told me that. One of our other friends.
The conversation grows tense as family ties and hidden connections appear. Secrets of betrayal, wealth, and protection point to forces much larger than a single violent act.
Yeah, we have one that's close to us, and then another one, that lived in Florida. So I know his brother's name is Dave.
Okay.
So we were kind of suspicious of him too, and it was, their family's at the funeral, which is kind of awkward. But
where does his brother live?
I'm not sure. I think he's in Green Bay because I think it's a family company, and I thought Doug was kind of in charge of keeping up the properties, and then Dave was more in the building part of it, I think.
Okay.
And he just had a kid, and so I don't know. I'm sure there would be some sort of communication phone-wise if he did reach out to him, because I don't know if Dave was, with them at that point.
Right.
Let's see, what else do I have written on here?
Who do you think that, because after Nicole had left sardine can after the fight you were talking about with the friends, her phone pretty much died, went dead. So who do you think that she would call, or know their number? Obviously, for phone sets, you'd have to know the number. Who do you think she would call if she needed a ride, or if she needed help or something like that?
I don't know. I wouldn't think she'd call her dad, because she always felt like her parents and her family didn't help her much. Heather would help her out, but she was, she's got her hands full herself. But I mean, she said this to me quite a bit, even after we broke up. That's why occasionally I'd take them on a weekday, because she couldn't get help from her mom, and her mom would help out, but she's really busy, and then every time she would help out, she'd kind of complain to Nicole. I know some of her close friends, couple of them, Caitlin.
Yeah. Any males
I really don't know.
that were close to her?
There's a guy she went to a concert with, that was a couple of years ago. I don't remember his name. I don't think my brother does either, because he met him. And I don't even know if she even hangs around with him anymore.
Yeah.
I know she went to sardine camp with some of Doc's friends, so I don't know if it was
Right.
more girls than guys.
It was pretty much all girls,
Yeah.
except for one guy.
Okay.
And he was there with his fiance. So, and then they all left. But then her phone died, so that kind of leaves us in a tough spot with phone calls or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, and locate, because phones can do all the locations and stuff like that. So it's.
Well, you can still track where the phone was, right?
Not
Even
if it's
that-
off.
Oh, I thought they still
No.
could.
No.
Between broken love and fading trust, the story shows how fragile lives can shatter. What remains are unanswered questions, buried truths, and a family forever changed.
No, some phones they do if it stores a little bit of extra battery life, for like to find your iPhone app or for some of that stuff. But
I know she had a new
Galaxy
phone.
Yeah.
Same one I have. Yeah, I wish I could help you more on that one.
Alright,
Yeah.
so as far as your relationship with goes, you said you have the kids on the weekends, she has them during the week. You've been apart for 3.5 years pretty much, no major issues since then at all?
No, I mean, we have, I don't think we've really had any other, fights.
What was the issue while you were married, if you don't mind me asking?
We were young, and, I had the second kid on the way, and, as a Christian, I'm like, well, we should probably get married, and I thought I loved her, but she pretty much knew she didn't love me, and she got married for the financial benefits, for, the birth being covered, because we both had to make a lot of money, so we're covered under Badger Care, and she pretty much knew it wasn't going to last, and then all of a sudden it was just, never, really just went down, it was just kind of the same, and then all of a sudden it was over. So it was kind of a shock to me. I knew it wasn't, perfect, obviously, but
Right.
yeah, we didn't really, fight all that much. We had similar interests. It's just personality-wise, I thought we kind of balanced each other out because, she just had no filter to her. Basically, a lot of my friends and family thought she was essentially verbally abusive to me occasionally.
Yeah.
I didn't really see it that way, because I just thought she was just kind of harsh and just little subtle things, not just like swearing at me, putting me down. But it was just little subtle digs and just kind of like, I don't know if that was her way of motivating me. It was just, it didn't work, and it just made me feel like crap most of the time. And I don't think her family saw that side of her as much as mine, and that's why Steve's like, I know your family loved Nicole just as much as us. And I'm just kind of struggling now because I don't know if, now that she's gone, I missed her quite a bit.
Other than Doug, do you have any thoughts of maybe if who would have done this to her?
Not really. We all kind of suspected Doug, and a lot of times with these free things, it's
and that's where everything pointed,
Yeah.
and whatever, especially with a lot of the information we were getting, but not everything always adds up, and there's always other possibilities and avenues that we have to look at. There's obvious things that were disclosed in the media, from the court proceedings and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the stuff hasn't been released yet.
The interrogation room light casts long shadows. Evidence, rumors, and doubt intertwine, making every word spoken feel heavier, as if truth itself were a burden to carry.
Well, I know, because they were looking at 10 pieces of evidence, per segment. Now the Attorney General made an exemption for that, so you can get it all through. And Heather was she was thinking that they didn't have enough on Doug, but the way you made it sound is like once the evidence, all comes out.
Well, I mean, it depends. I mean, the evidence.
You don't know what's going to come.
Right. So the evidence is what it is. The fact when you brought your son in, or your dad did for the DNA, that makes it go by a little bit quicker. Because when they're checking clothes, when they're checking, arms and stuff like that for DNA, if they come across some male DNA, then they can right away know whether it's her kids, who obviously would have had contact with her purse, clothes, stuff like that.
So you don't really, do you have a weapon yet?
Well, I can't give you that.
Okay, I figured there's some things. Well, and that's why when Heather, it was like the first day her family came out to us, and then I don't know who she talked to. She made it sound it was a coroner, but it wasn't a coroner. And then she was told that she was shot in the head, and then obviously it came out later that didn't happen.
Right. A lot of rumors get spread around. I don't know where a lot of that stuff comes from.
It sounded like she got it for someone,
Right. And that's why we don't release any of that information. So I mean, there's only, besides me and a couple of other investigators, there's only one or two people, whoever's responsible for it, that know the answers. So it's important to keep it shut, so that in case someone does come forward, or in case somebody, comes in with information, we can say, well, they didn't get it off the news, or they didn't get it from so-and-so because we've never told anybody.
Yeah. Well, that's where we're concerned too with him, getting out. But now that his family, we heard that they were suing the city of Green Bay for holding him too long or something, but I don't.
Well, Green Bay would have nothing to do with it.
Okay.
It's all Brown County.
Okay. Did they file something?
Not that I know.
Okay. I mean, again, it's probably just rumor too, but if even they were thinking about it, that means that they probably think he's innocent, because we were worried about, with the money they had and resources, that they would try to get him out of the country. But that's a risk you run, but, I don't think that'll happen, because, now he's got his son back.
Oh, did he get the kid back?
Yeah, on Saturday, they got him back, and that was kind of awkward, because my kids were staying over there. And at first I didn't want my kids over at Heather's, because, she had Dylan, but knowing that he was going to be, transferred back to the Dietrichs, we thought it was going to be the parents picking him up. I didn't know it was going to be Doug. Because I didn't, my kids had to see him again.
Yeah, right.
It's just like...
A child is caught in tragedy, with custody twisted into a legal battle. Fragile memories now confront the figure of a father, torn between doubt and responsibility.
And I asked him last night if he said anything to him, and I'm like, Michaela thought he said sorry, but I don't. And then she wasn't sure about it, and Tyler was like, no, I think he just said hi, do you guys say hi back? And they don't even remember me. There's kind of...
What were the details on that? I haven't heard anything on that. It was the courts forced her to give him back?
Yeah, I think they filed a petition, and then Heather had temporary guardianship.
Right, I knew that.
Yeah, and then she pretty much lost that with the petition, and then the DA told her that it would be harder, for her to get custody than it would be to even prosecute Doug, I think, so.
Well, he is, well, I don't know the answer to it, if there's ever been DNA done or not. I don't know that, on the kid to match for Doug. If he's not the dad, then obviously her family would have, rights to the child. He hasn't been charged yet with anything, so if he is the dad, they're not gonna take the kid away from him unless, there's some sort of extenuating circumstances that he's not fit.
Yeah, that's what she was gonna talk to the DA about, because apparently Nicole didn't have him, with just Dylan very many times at all. She really didn't trust him. I don't know if he, it was his first child, so
right.
If it is his child, she just didn't feel all that comfortable. I asked the kids, and I think there was maybe an occasion or two that maybe for an hour or something that, he was with Dylan by himself. But it didn't happen very often. Like I said, I only met him once before they moved in there, and then every time I drop off stuff, pick up things, he was only there once.
Okay.
And I, did that for, full year. So, that's almost 100 times.
Right.
So he was very rarely even at home. And I know he had he's a hunter, so he did have a, collection of guns, and that's what, I felt a little guilt because this guy was, living with my kids for so long, and if he did have, I'm not sure if does he have a prior criminal record? Because we heard that he didn't, because his parents might have, paid those other women off.
Yeah, there's no prior convictions, I can say that much.
There might have been a domestic dispute or something.
And that doesn't mean that there wasn't calls or that there wasn't reports done, but there's no prior arrests.
So I'm not even sure if I would have looked him up.
No prior convictions, I should say.
Behind casual conversations, the cracks of a broken marriage emerge. Each memory, each detail shared, becomes another piece in a puzzle of crime still unsolved.
Do you have an ID on you?
Yep.
Make it easier. Do you mind if I take a statement from you, a typed up one, just to some of the stuff that we talked about?
That's fine.
Very briefly, and we can keep chatting. I don't know what time you have to be at work, or what time you got something planned.
I'm pretty flexible here. This is important, so.
Yeah.
I got all week.
Wow, you look a lot different.
Got long hair and a beard. Wow, that's a pretty old picture. I got like the Superman curly thing going on in front there.
Yeah, still like the preppy look, remember?
I gotta get it next year, in 2017, I gotta get a new one.
Yeah, they make those, the new ones are pretty sweet looking.
A different format.
Yep. I just got one, they're pretty slick. So how long have you been living at home with your parents?
Well, it's pretty much since divorce.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You gotta pay child support and stuff, or?
No, because we both didn't make a whole lot of money, so we kind of worked it out. I think it came out that she was going to have to pay me $17, so I just, canceled that out, so. And, I've helped her out here and there with, things if she needed clothes or,
Sure.
Give her some cash here and there.
What's your address of your parents?
2851 Hidden Lake Lane.
That's Swamico?
Swamico or Green Bay, yeah. 54313.
still 96-23.
Mm-hmm.
Divorce, separation, and long shadows over a family's past. A decade-long love turned into silence and bitterness, leaving behind only scars and unanswered questions.
So you guys divorced or separated?
We're divorced.
Divorced.
Yeah, we officially divorced in October, I believe it was October 1st of 2013.
Okay, so you've been divorced from Nicole since October 1st of 2013, but we're actually separated.
I can't remember if it was August or more September. It's probably more September. September 2012.
It's about late August or early September.
Yeah, I don't know, I moved out till, I think it was the 15th. I can't remember if it was September 15th or maybe October 15th, because I was, sleeping on the couch for a month or so.
Where were you guys living in that moment of your ID back?
Law Street.
Oh, okay.
And then she lived there for a year after I left. And then she moved to a couple blocks away on Bismarck. And I think she was there for about a year then, and then she moved to the apartment on Trumpeter Trail in New Pier.
Yeah.
Right behind that. I think we lived there.
So how long were you guys together for?
I started dating in July of 2003.
So yeah, I mean, you guys were together for almost 10 years. That's a pretty long time.
Yeah, it was.
You know,
We were always family friends. Her dad was a chiropractor. My dad was a holistic dentist, so they always knew each other. So, our families would get together, cookouts and stuff. But she was always 3 years younger than me, and that's a big difference when you're younger.
Sure.
And it was, when she graduated high school, or she started dating her sisters, kind of fixed us up, and.
Debt, conflict, and fierce snowstorms pile up like invisible weights. In that chaos, every family member struggles, stumbling through the storm in search of a way out.
So basically, since the divorce, separation, you've been living with your parents?
Yep. Hence the one date.
Yeah, it's gotta be tough.
Yeah, and then, with work, and my brother had a wedding, so he hasn't been able to pay me what, he owes me a lot of money. And
oh, really?
Yeah, he feels really bad, because, there's no way I could be living on my own. I'd be so in debt right now. I'm still a little bit in debt, just trying to pay that off living at home, and it's been a little frustrating. But he's got his stuff paid off, and his his wife's been really good in Arbonne now, so that's what I kinda figured. It wasn't gonna be him paying me off, it was gonna be his wife. But, they're together, and she knows that I've been, helping them out and kinda sacrificing my future a little bit. It, sucks with the kids, but,
But they're number one.
Yeah, so I've just been kinda stuck, 'cause I'd like to, do something else, but then he's gotta hire someone else and take care of all the lawns, and then I do all the billing and maintenance stuff, and have someone he can trust, and it's just, felt like I would be really, walking out on it. And my younger brother, he quit working for us a couple winters ago, and he was, doing lawns with me years back, and he didn't even give us like a 2-week notice. He was just like, I just got a job in Tweet and Garrett, see you later. Okay. And that was in the middle of winter too, and we plow, so that can be a bit hectic. And there's some storms, like last year, those bigger storms where Sean worked like 60 hours straight, like he doesn't sleep, and I don't know how he does it. Like I can work about 20 hours before I need to just
I'm
pass out somewhere.
the same way.
Yeah.
I get really crappy otherwise.
Yeah. But he can do it. He's been kind of used to getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep the last couple of years, or the last 5 years. His body's, I guess, used to it.
Alright, so Nicole and I had the arrangement that I take the kids on the weekends and that she had them the rest of the time. I did not pay child support to Nicole as we came to the mutual agreement that there would be none from either of us. As far as like, the kids were under Badger care, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Okay.
Memories of raising children mix with suspicion. Were there hidden truths never spoken? With the children at the center, the investigation grows heavier and more painful.
Yeah, I kind of figured, I thought about just probably a week or 2 after it happened, like, wow, I bet there's a good chance they're gonna, ask me to be on trial and testify type. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
maybe, possibly.
your role is probably pretty small.
Yeah, I figured.
A lot of the stuff that you had heard is hearsay about, him beating on her or whatever, because you didn't witness it anything firsthand, or she didn't tell you about it firsthand. So if it's something that you heard it through somebody else, then that's hearsay and it's not really admissible anyways. If you had any direct knowledge of it, you'd be able to testify as to what your kids told you. We don't want to drag the kids in. I'm happy to hear that you guys have talked to them about him abusing them or anything, because that was probably going to be something we did later on. Obviously, they're traumatized enough now that we didn't want to drag them through something like that. But it would have been important to bring them into it's called the Child Advocacy Center, and have a specialist just sit down and see if there's anything that would have came out, to make sure that there was no abuse or anything going on. Now they're not with him anymore at all, so I think that they'd probably be a little bit more comfortable in maybe saying something. So if that comes out, obviously let us know. But it sounds like you guys have already talked to him.
Yeah, I'll bring it up again, but I'm
just,
pretty,
whatever.
Yeah,
I mean,
subtly, yeah.
because now that they're not going to be around him anymore, they probably wouldn't have any reason to be afraid of him, as afraid of him, because they're not in the same house as him. So do you have the kids now pretty much all the time, or?
Yeah.
Your parents?
Yeah, my parents there, so, occasionally, Heather wants them over every other weekend or something to hang out with Landon.
No, and that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one good thing, is they kind of miss, seeing their family. It's not the way that, I'd like to see them. It's after tragedy, but they didn't really see their family a whole lot.
Forensics is nothing like the movies. Each DNA sample feels fragile, capable of both revealing the truth and complicating every theory investigators try to build.
So do you have any timeline on when that, so basically you gotta wait for all the evidence to be run through before you can...
Kind of, and, unless something gets answered within that. DNA, and unfortunately, it's not like the movies and the TV shows that they can take all the stuff, shove it into some magical machine, and then it spits out an answer.
Yeah.
Every piece of evidence has to be gone through, and the fact that they live together, that Doug and Nicole live together, obviously some of Doug's DNA is going to be on her clothes, things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tough. You have to sort through that. What's normal, what's not normal for someone who lives together. They say that if you live with somebody for any period of time, obviously you do your laundry together, you do sleep in the same bed, so you're going to have dead skin cells, you're going to have all sorts of the other person's DNA on you, depending upon how clean you live, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's tough, because a lot of the DNA stuff on his end is going to be explainable. And it's a matter of seeing if there's any unknown DNA or anything like that would be located. So it's a long process, and there's a lot of things in this case that are not normal. I guess I shouldn't say not normal, because no homicide is normal.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of different things that we have to deal with. So.
You got an idea about where it happened, though, or?
Yes. What was released in the news was accurate.
Okay. I haven't been watching the news. It's too hard for me. So.
So right from the get-go, yeah.
Is it Broadway area or something, or anything?
No. The blood and stuff that was found in front of his house was Nicole's.
Yeah.
So that's where it happened.
Okay.
And then obviously, the body where it was located or whatever.
Was it so if you take Monroe, is it right at the farm field right on the right then, or is it the one down Hoffman on the left?
Hoffman.
Okay. Yeah, we actually know that. I went to school with the 13-year-old that found the body with his uncle or grandpa. It was one of the girls I went to school with, her son, 13.
Oh, right.
Jeez. And from sounds of what her body looked like, that had to be completely traumatizing for him.
The victim's discovery shocked the entire community. Rumors spread, strangled, beaten, even tortured. Between fear and truth, only trauma remains carved in memory.
And when I told the kids what happened, I told her, she was shocked, but I could explain, it was a quick, painless death, and then it came out that she was, strangled, and, maybe her throat slit, and we heard that her teeth might have been pulled, and that was probably rumors, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's a lot of rumors.
Okay. But, and then she was beaten with baseball bats.
Who told you that?
I don't know where we heard that one. I'm not sure. I know Steve's the one that told me that he heard that the D-trees might have paid off, a couple other women. But if there was, I don't know how. That can be shown if it never went to court and it was just a settlement, but there's still a transaction there, so I don't know if that's really anything that's going to be permissible in court or not. Just kind of shows, and that's what's so frustrating. If that's the case, it's just we put a lot of blame on the parents for enabling them. It's okay. Well, we got money. We'll it's okay to beat women. We'll just buy them off and buy their silence and I don't know if Nicole knew about his history or not, but if she did, I'd be kind of pissed at her for putting my kids in that situation with him, so I like to think she didn't know, or she thought he would change, but, they're real similar personalities, were they?
Was she a big drinker?
Yeah, I mean, she didn't drink every night, but, I mean, when she did drink, she drank, and, I mean, there was a period, that was when she was at Bismarck, where, I mean, she was, a couple occasions drinking whilst the kids were at the house, which aggravated me, and there was a time that, I mean, she could have been gone a couple of years ago, because I guess it was right around Christmas, when she was at Bismarck, so that was probably 2014, I'm guessing. I don't know if she was there. And, I mean, she's had issues. I mean, her childhood was rough, and she helped, raise her three siblings, younger siblings, because their dad was kind of missing in action here and there. But I had to throw away a bottle of pills. She was drinking one night, super depressed, and took a handful of pills. And if she didn't throw up that night, she might have passed. So the next day, she told me that, and I took the pills away and threw them out. What are you doing?
Her past returns, a harsh childhood, struggles with addiction, and moments close to death. All these pieces now feel like grim foreshadowing of her tragic fate.
So she's had some, addiction problems, but she's not like she drinks every night, and especially after, she had Dylan,
Right.
she's, settled down, but, on the weekends, I have the kids, and she can go out and party, and from what I've heard, Doug, likes to drink too, and I guess they fight, quite a bit, because they're both, kind of the fire personalities, where they really go at each other here and there.
Yeah. So the last time you saw her was, let's see, the last time I saw Nicole was the Friday that she was last seen before going out for the night. Nicole and I had arranged for me to pick up our children from her and Doug's house that Friday.
Yeah, it was about 5 o'clock when I got the bus there.
But you didn't know what her plans were, you just knew she was going out?
Yeah.
Was Doug home?
No. But she never really had an issue. It was mostly alcohol. I don't know if she's ever done coke unless, if Doug was on it or something, or, maybe she did a couple times, but she never had an issue with hard drugs or anything.
So when you picked them up, you spoke briefly with her, and then left with the children?
Yep. Probably 5 minutes.
And when were you supposed to be dropping them off, or what was the arrangement for that?
I think they still had school they had school the next week because we were off, so I would just drop them off at school that Monday, and then she picks them up.
I gotcha.
And then they didn't end up going back to school till Wednesday, and I wasn't sure, because it was only 2 weeks of school, so I wasn't sure if she didn't go back, and
Right.
I asked the kids, and they wanted to go back, and I think they made the right choice, because,
Right,
help back to
keep their
normal.
minds, yeah, right. So she didn't call you or text you, or you guys didn't have any contact at all Friday night while she was out?
No.
Or nothing? Okay.
And the last text I got from her was, it's hard to even see her name on my phone, it's just, yeah, she just said we are waiting at 4:30, so, yeah, I picked them up a little before 5 then.
Okay.
Her final night feels like a shadowed memory. Short texts, a missed meeting, a fateful taxi ride, and the haunting question remains, who delivered the final blow?
So what did you do once you picked up the kids, went to your parents' house?
Yeah.
And then stayed in for the night, or?
Yeah, we didn't go out. We just watched a movie.
Okay.
Watched a movie Saturday. Oh no, I think that was I don't know if we watched a movie, we just, I don't. So last month it's been
Yeah,
a blur.
It's been a month.
I know we didn't, pretty sure we didn't do anything, because I would've, told that to
Okay.
the sheriff. I don't know if we, just probably watch TV or watch a movie, we were watching a movie Saturday night, because I remember we had to pause the movie, and we turned something else on, so they didn't, I don't think they even knew.
But once you guys got home that night, you didn't go out and do
No.
nothing? Okay.
And my brother almost called me to go to that concert too, because I don't know if his wife didn't want to go or he found someone else, so. He was calling me, so I could have even ran into her at the show. But it's not like she would have been fighting with Doug and then, she wouldn't have came home or, got a ride from me, obviously. Even though she didn't even leave with Doug. And she took a taxi back to Sardine Can or something with her. Or unless she just drove with Doug's friends, I'm not sure how she got back to Sardine Can, but, from the watering hole there. But, she would never call me. Even though I'm not that far away, could easily, pick her up.
So you're not somebody that you think she'd call?
No.
Maybe if she was in a super duper pinch, or not even
I
that?
don't think so.
No.
She hasn't. She's never really called me to, talk about anything, and it's mostly me calling her and
Right.
complaining about my life.
Okay.
And then, we've had some good talks since we divorced, and she said some things that, didn't make a lot of sense, and one of the most odd things she's ever said to me, and this goes to the no filter thing, and we were having a good talk, probably talking for an hour, and then she's like, I can say whatever I want to people, they don't have to take it negatively. I'm like, well, you say negative things to people, and they're gonna take it the way it's intended to be taken, and your words and actions have consequences on other people, and it's just...
The broken marriage revealed hidden scars, verbal abuse, alcohol, and constant belittling. Each wound piled up, turning what should be a home into an emotional battlefield.
She didn't get that, and she just was wired that way, that she could...
She like that all the time, even drinking or not drinking?
Yeah, it was much worse when she was drinking.
Yeah,
the verbal stuff towards me was a lot more, probably 80-90% of what my parents and my friends saw.
Right.
Was, her putting me down, and that was, from her drinking. At first she'd, be real funny, going, and, real giddy, and then she'd get just kind of stupid sometimes, and there's times around my friends where I get embarrassed, like, what are you doing, what are you saying, like, she just goes off the cuff, and part of that I liked because she didn't, care what other people think about her, which is a good thing, which is a good thing, and I have, I thought it would kind of balance me out, because I think I analyze too much, I don't say stuff, because not that I'm afraid, I'm not PC, so I'm not afraid I'm going to offend anyone, but I'm not sure of my words, and don't want to come off sounding like an idiot, essentially, but she did not care about that, and a lot of my friends, they didn't say anything until we were separated, like, she was not that good, we didn't really respect her, and there's a couple times we left some parties or whatever, like, I feel like they don't even like us or something like that, and I kind of felt that too. I thought it was a little bit towards me even, because, a lot of my friends have careers, and they never, like, said anything, but it just kind of felt like, they looked down on us a little bit, but it was more directed towards her.
Because we were drinking and stuff?
Yeah, and then the way she would,
attitude
towards me, and just kind of, like I said, real subtle things. It wasn't her swearing at me, telling me I'm an idiot and a failure and all that. It was just little subtle digs, and most of the time I just brush it off. I didn't escalate things. I'm not very confrontational. But it was just like 9 years, and in some ways it just feels like one big lie, and it's tough to deal with when she tells you that. She told me she never had feelings for me, that I never got in her head, and just made me feel like an idiot. And I'm not the brightest guy, but I went to a year at UW-Madison. I'm not an idiot.
Right.
Of course, flunked out, went to an engineering program because my guidance counselor told me I won't get in because I had like a 22 on my ACTs, which is average. He's like, you're not going to get in with that, but my grade point was like 3.83. Got in. My best friend got in, so I'm like, oh, I probably should go. And then they didn't tell you it was like a 75-80% dropout rate in the engineering program.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So my buddy was much smarter than me, ended up transferring to Milwaukee, but I think he transferred after a couple of years, but I'm not sure if that was academic or because his wife went to UW, or his fiance, I'm not sure at the time. They're probably just boyfriend and girls at the time, but.
From studies to career to lost dreams, his story sounded like a chain of failures. In the shadows, those memories became an unshakable torment, haunting his every step.
And then, and I went to Southwest Tech in 2005, 2006, got my associate's degree in golf course management because I'm a big golfer, but I like to golf. I don't like to really work on the golf course. I figured that out. And the hours suck. I'm not a morning person. I don't like working at 5 in the morning.
Right.
And I get home, you're done at 1 or 2, but you're just dead tired and just like, I almost feel like you need to take a nap. And I didn't like, the spraying and stuff, the pesticides, it got to me.
Sure.
And my dad being a dentist and, brought up on good nutrition, and I kind of did some little bit of research, and, cancer was an issue for a lot of superintendents with all the pesticides and stuff they use. And even all masks, I had masks, gloves, like a paint suit, boots, and everything, and still just felt a little out of it that day. And Green Bay Country Club, I worked at Thornbury, Green Bay Country Club, and Trappist Turn, some really nice courses. Green Bay, they just wait for a calm day, they just go out, they don't wear any masks or anything. I'm like, you guys are crazy. Yeah, it's spring behind you, but it's still can blow into you. You gotta make turns and that, but I kind of felt bad because, she had a little money saved up, and then she went down. It was in Fenimore, Southwest Tech, so it's, 3.5 hours away. And Michaela was raised down there since she was born in July, so that whole year. We had we're kind of in the basement of a house, not a real nice place, but it was okay, it was livable. But, so she was kind of down there because she didn't have any friends, she occasionally, come out with my golfing buddies and have a couple beers or something, but, she was breastfeeding a lot too, so she couldn't, really enjoy it. And I think that's why, after we broke up, she kind of wanted to live her college years again.
Sure.
She hasn't, she went to UWGB, but she
missed out on some of that because of the kids. Yeah. GB's not a big party school anyways, really, so.
Yeah, she didn't really do any partying when she was there. Madison's a party school.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I had a girlfriend that we were dating, she went there too, so.
Yeah. I didn't have a problem going to class. I had a problem studying and, doing the homework that was necessary.
Preparing for class?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you in high school, I just kind of cram. I had a pretty good memory, so I just, cram at the end and, do it that way, but I couldn't pull that off in college, that's for sure. But.
Okay, so that night, that you picked her up, you went home with the kids, were your parents saw her there and everything?
Yeah.
Okay. And then is it the following day that the cops came over?
Yeah, I think it was
when did you hear about it? Did you hear anything about the body being found?
No, because wasn't the body found like early Sunday morning, or was it Saturday morning?
Saturday.
It was Saturday, so it was early, was it Saturday night or Saturday morning? I thought we were trying to.
Like afternoonish.
Oh.
The moment the body was found shook the entire city. A simple wristband became the heartbreaking clue, forcing the family to confront a cruel and undeniable truth.
Saturday, because, when I talked to him, I said I got the kids from her. So that was, 21st, so the 20th was on Friday.
Right.
Sicky.
What did the cops tell you when they came over?
They just said there was a missing persons report filed for Nicole. They just kind of asked last time I talked to her, I told them I picked up the kids and
And that was at your parents' house?
Yeah.
The cops came? Police
Yeah,
came?
see, last time I called, it was 4:34, it must've been right after she texted me. And then Vicky called me at 9 p.m. No, that was outgoing. Yeah, so they probably came around 7 or 8. Or probably closer to 8.
So they didn't tell you that night that she was, deceased?
No,
Okay.
they said it was, that's what kinda confused with, with
Right.
the timeline and all that. So,
When did you find out she was, deceased?
that's the next day around 4:30, we heard that they found a body, it was a blonde, and then, it had a wristband. Once I heard the wristband thing, my stomach just dropped, I'm like, oh my God, that's her.
Why did you say that?
Well, because there's not too often that when they said they found a body, it's a blonde, okay, I know there's not a whole lot of murders in Green Bay.
Yeah.
And then when I heard the wristband thing, she went to a concert. So
Right.
once I'm like, oh my God, it's gotta be her. And then we didn't get confirmation until Vicky called us around 5:40 is when she called me. Yeah, 5:30. 5:32 was the first one. It was the whole day just pretty much knowing that it had to be her, but just, hoping and praying that it was someone else. Because they couldn't, because her body was so, beaten and shoveled that they couldn't even identify her. I don't know, her family's probably getting a little impatient and...
A whole day stretched in painful waiting, fragile hope that it wasn't her slowly crumbled as confirmation arrived, leaving an emptiness that no words could ever fill.
They've been really good.
Yeah.
Who told you that her body was so beaten and disheveled?
Well, I didn't know, I just heard they found their body.
Okay.
They said around 2:30, I thought it was 2:30 in the morning, but it must have been in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Heather and her family came out that night, probably 7 o'clock-ish, she said it's not the coroner, but I talked to someone, said she was shot in the head. And then, so it wasn't until, a couple days that I heard that she was strangled, her throat might have been slashed. Obviously it wasn't the news, because I haven't watched the news. I don't know if that was from Sean, that Sean might have heard it. I don't know if he heard it from someone. I don't think it was like on Facebook, because people are speculating, but I don't think people are, posting that kind of stuff.
Right.
But that's what we kind of figured, that it took so long to identify her, because they wanted to make her unidentifiable. But if it was Doug, if he was smart, he would have drove her a couple hours away instead of a mile from his house. But obviously when you're doing that type of activity, you're not even in the right mindset. You're not thinking. And I'm sure she, pushed him to the limit. He didn't maybe intend to do it, but he did it, and it doesn't matter what, obviously she said or did to him, even if she hit him. Doesn't give him any reason to harm her. We were at a party for my sister, her 21st, so this is right before we broke up in August. And we were just kind of joking, she was being kind of loud and obnoxious at a bar, and I asked the bartender if they sold mussels there, just kind of a joke, and she just slapped me, like, as hard as she could. And my face was red for a half hour, and I never, even thought about hitting her back. I think pretty much that was the only time she's ever really hit me.
Rumors spread fast: abuse, anger, conflict. Who was behind it all? Suspicions even turned toward close ones, plunging the community into fear and restless speculation.
Other than just kind of, punch a shot in the shoulder, or kind of wrestling around sometimes. She'd want to wrestle a couple times here and there, but yeah, I don't remember exactly where I heard that. I can ask Sean if he got that. I don't think.
And Sean is
My older brother, who I work with.
okay.
I have an older brother, and then a younger brother, and then a younger sister. That's about 9 years younger than me.
Okay.
And she was very close to Nicole. She was like, a sister to her, and
Sure.
she'd always be mad at Nicole for like, really, Nicole? Like, you have to say that? And so my brother Sean has been really, gung-ho and want to get, all the details down, make sure you guys know about, looking into other people. We think it could be his brother, it could be a friend. We heard, the whole D name, and his name is Dave. And when we saw him at the funeral, we have another friend that he's very keen and in touch with things, and he's like, when he left the funeral, he's like, I felt like the person that was responsible for Nicole's death was at the funeral.
Mm-hmm.
He just had a kind of an eerie feeling, and so, and I don't think any of Doug's friends were there, so I'd hate to think it was his brother, but if you did hurt her, and he's like, I got to do something with his body, you're probably gonna ask, your brother or a really good friend to help you out if he did.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd hate to see him, ruin his life just to help out his brother after he made this horrific mistake. But it's hard to picture exactly what happened, and it's just, I don't know why we've gotten so many different stories, not from you guys, but
Right.
just...
Well, because rumors start spreading around, and that's, people speculate on their own, and then stories start growing bigger and bigger and bigger, and branch off in every different direction.
Yeah.
So.
And I know Heather wanted to see the body. I'm not sure she ever did, but I don't know why. If her body was in that rough a shape, you want to see that and traumatize yourself. And I wasn't sure if I was going to bring the kids to the funeral. It ended up being a good choice, and we end up going to the burial thing too. It's like, ugh.
Well, I'm not a psychologist, but I think that's probably, they're at an age where it's not like you're going to hide anything from them. They see enough TV and they watch enough stuff that, they probably get an understanding of what's going on.
Sure.
The funeral carried a heavy silence, while children's innocent eyes couldn't grasp the loss. In the crowd, glances wandered. Was the killer hidden among the mourners?
So what I'm asking everyone, and I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but everyone that has any sort of personal thing with her, you don't have anything to do with it or any other knowledge of it, correct?
No. I pretty much told you everything I know. I can clarify, talk to my brother about, where we heard, about the body being battered with, baseball bats, but so the baseball bat thing was really not the case?
I can't give you
confirm
any
that.
information on that,
Yeah,
right?
I understand.
So, one of the things that we're doing is cell phone towers. We're able to gather everybody's that was in an area at a certain time period. Anyone that had their cell phone on them, some pretty cool stuff that we can do. And it downloads every single phone number from a specific tower. In fact, there's like numerous of them out here. So we're in the process of doing that, of dumping these phone numbers off these towers,
Okay.
which will show us every single number that's in the area of, wherever, of her house, of where the body was discovered, all that kind of stuff. So one's not gonna be over there at all, right?
No, I will be at home.
And I'm not trying to make you
Well,
feel like
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
hammering here, but every single person that I talk to, it's like, you know,
Yeah, you wanna, yeah.
I need to make sure.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be doing my job if I wasn't.
Yeah,
I understand you're grieving and all that, I get all that.
But I am an ex-husband, yeah.
But I have to do my job,
Yeah.
and I have to look at every possible avenue. And that's one thing that any defense, Doug's defense, anybody's defense is gonna say, well, why didn't you look here? Why didn't you look there? Why didn't you question this, that?
Yeah, that's
So
why.
those are common things.
I'm a little worried that they could try to, pin it on me. Here's his, ex-husband, and, I do have a gun registered in my name.
Mhm.
I bought a gun a handgun last December. I'm not a gun person, I haven't even fired it yet. And you'll be able, if you see it, it hasn't been, it's locked up in a case, and I actually had it on me, that Tuesday when I didn't know. I tried to call the sheriff and see if Doug was released, because I didn't know if they posted bail and, his parents had money and got him out.
Detectives revealed cell tower data. Every phone nearby would serve as a silent witness. Technology now stood as the key to expose what darkness tried to hide.
And then, him wanting, I don't think he'd come out to my parents' house, he doesn't even know where we live, but, that's why I was very thankful my kids were not at that house that time, because he comes home and hears Nicole, and then my kids are witnesses to it, and, just to think, it could have been worse. So, yeah, it's just, and I didn't tell my kids I had it, and, they saw it on me, and I explained to them, they were kind of happy that I had it on me. And my dad's like, no, you're not crazy for doing that. I need to protect my family, and that's why I got it for. I plan on eventually getting a concealed carry for it, especially what's going on with, Orlando. It's scary what's, going on there, and political correctness is now getting people killed, and I'm a very conservative person, so I know what you guys go through, and the way that the feds have trying to nationalize police forces, and you guys can't profile and do the proactive stuff. You could, because you don't want to be called a racist or an Islamophobe, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. And I always commend the law enforcement, and tell my kids that, obviously nothing to be afraid of. And my uncle and my cousin Matt, do the uniform shop down there, so.
Okay, so the only other thing I want to ask is if you would consent to DNA swab of your mouth, like we did of your son.
Sure.
If that's something you'd be willing to do. That way it'll also help if there's any sort of transfer from your DNA onto his clothes.
That's what I was thinking. You probably want mine.
Obviously, we'd already kind of have it since, we have your son.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming it's your son.
I hope so.
So
it looks just like
so the male DNA would be the same regardless, but it could help clarify some stuff.
I have no problem with that.
No problem with that. Okay, let me go grab that. I'm gonna let you read through this statement.
Okay.
The interrogation shifted to family and health, but beneath the small talk lay helplessness, aging relatives, stubborn illnesses, and the frustration of not being able to save them.
Your uncle gave that up completely to Matt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't go in there as much because I don't obviously wear uniforms anymore. So.
Yeah, I guess the business is going really good for him. And Matt's always on the road. We've been bowling with him this past, since September. I'm not sure if we bowl the whole year, but yeah, I've seen quite a bit. And might see him tonight. We're doing a little summer league on Tuesday nights, just at Century Lanes down there. And yeah, I think Bill's been pretty much fully retired for, I don't know, 2-3 years now. Not sure how long it's been. But he's having some, health issues, and my dad has, a lot of nutritional products that could really help him out, but he's just so stubborn, and he just won't. I don't know if it's just the time to take them, or he doesn't really think it'll help, and he's taken a couple of them, and it actually did help, but it's just, some people can only help so much, and, sucks, because, we can't help him, and, he's had issues with the VA, and, he had to.
I think everyone has.
Yeah. What a mess that is. And apparently, there hasn't been a single male Vanderheiden in our family to live past 80. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We've had a history of lung cancer, and I'm sure my dad, well, it's not my Uncle Bill. I'm sure it'll be my dad, because he's really healthy. I mean, he did like a standing backflip about 5 years ago, and he's 62 right now. He's a real good gymnast and stays pretty fit and healthy, so. But,
yeah, see, he's always been a skinny dude.
yeah. He was one of the top gymnasts in the country for a while.
Oh, really?
And then he just completely destroyed his ankle.
Okay, I'm gonna leave you just to go grab those things, and then I'll show you how to sign it when I get back. You just scroll up and down on it. Just give me a minute. Need a water or anything?
Sure, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Alright, sorry about that. I struggle trying to find it. Okay. Does everything look good on there?
Yeah, I just fixed, my name was, didn't have a space in capital H. I know, they even did that at the funeral. They did Vanderheiden Meyer, and then they didn't even spell our last name right. And she actually filed for a name change, after we got divorced, but she didn't follow up. She was always terrible with paperwork, so she didn't follow up with it. It's now it's dragging our name into this, but, I guess it takes some of the pressure off Myers, if anything, so. The only thing I don't, this said, I didn't leave the house, but it says I don't know for sure, because I didn't know for sure what we did that night, but I think we just watched TV, but it just kind of,
yeah, how do you want me to put it? I forgot a form that I gotta go grab.
Okay.
Just give me 1 second.
Sure.
DNA, small in size but heavy in consequence. By agreeing to the swab, he stepped deeper into a maze where truth and lies could no longer hide.
Yeah, I'll change that to whatever you want.
Yeah, basically
reads kind of goofy, but.
Yeah, because I just basically wasn't sure if we watched TV or watched a movie, because I remember now it was Saturday that we watched a movie, so I think we just watched some TV. Once I picked up the kids, I went to my house in the stadium for the night. I said I watched TV with my kids and didn't leave the house for that night.
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of a little repetitive, but.
It is, but.
But you want to, make
it's
that
important.
clear. Yeah, and obviously from my phone you can see, I know it's crazy how they can, the GPS. I heard that, the FBI can, turn on the speaker on your phone even if your phone's turned off.
I don't know about that.
Maybe not if your battery's dead, but if your phone is turned off and your battery's still charged, but your phone's off, they can turn it off. But yeah, that's
So that's good?
I don't know where yeah, I think so.
You got this part done too?
Oh, okay. Yep.
Okay. Then all I gotta have you do is just sign right in there. stating that you hereby consent to give, it's called a buccal or buccal swab. It's an oral swabbing of the inside of your mouth, same thing we did to your son. And that's me. We advise you understand that authorized representative of this crime laboratory will examine these samples. Basically what I'll do is just send them in to the lab. They'll go with the rest of this case.
Okay.
Then that way, for comparison purposes or whatever. So, you understand you do not have to submit to the clinic samples, and you're doing so knowingly and willingly.
Okay.
Do you understand that?
Yep.
Okay.
Stories of an innocent child pierced the gloomy tone, bittersweet and fragile. Amid suspicion and evidence, a baby's image became a fleeting glimmer of hope.
And it will not be kept permanently, which means it won't go like anywhere for permanent.
Alright.
So if you'd sign there and then print right there if you're cool with it.
Sure.
It's a really painless process. We did the 6-month-old baby too, and that was interesting.
Yeah, he's such a good baby.
He is.
He just,
Cute.
doesn't matter, yeah, who he's with, like, I seriously been around him for, probably 10 hours over the last couple of weeks or whatever, last month, and that kid just, like, never cries. He'll whine, like, here and there, but, like, just all babies just constantly cry. He's just, and especially, going person to person, and, like, he's just a trooper. I mean, and Heather actually asked me, like, would you want him to take him, every other weekend sometime? Like, I can help out, and then I ran it by my parents, like, no.
They don't want a baby in the house?
Not so much, he's still not sleeping through the night all the time, and but my brother Sean and his wife, offered to adopt him, so they're kind of, if Heather gets custody, they definitely help out, and I'll help out here and there too, but just to keep him close to Kim and Tyler.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's definitely important.
Yeah. But,
okay, so you open your mouth for me. Let's do 2 from each cheek, so make sure. Done one of these in the last month.
probably couldn't do just cotton swabs, 10, 15 years ago, if I had to do blood usually.
Yeah.
Kinda nice.
I think the evidence has come a long way. It's just a matter of getting more people, because the labs are so overwhelmed with work, because there's one lab that does it in the whole state, and there's 72 counties, and we call and harass them as much as we can to get stuff done, but it can only be done so fast, and they have to prioritize. So it seems to be.
Well, and then they had that double homicide in Hobart too.
Yeah, and then all rest of the state has stuff that's constantly going on.
Milwaukee is gonna be pretty problem area.
Milwaukee, Racine, Kenosha, all those. So I guess the only other thing is, there's no reason why, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but there's no reason why, is there any reason why your phone would show being on those, when we do those tower things? Because it will literally give us every single phone number from all those cell phone towers, and pretty much throughout the whole night.
Phones, silent witnesses. Detectives warned cell towers would expose secrets. He insisted he stayed home, yet hesitation in his words made doubt grow stronger.
So it shows the location of the phones then too, or it would just have the number?
It would just mean that phone was close to that tower,
Okay.
because it was using that tower.
Yeah, it won't be precise, but...
Yeah, it's not a precise thing, but, if
where-
you're in Swamico, there's no way that your phone number would show up on a tower in De Pere, or in Green Bay. It would just show up on a tower in Swamico.
Yeah, I'm 99% sure I stayed in that night with the kids.
You didn't go out to the and I realize it's a month.
I know I didn't go to the concert, because my brother asked me, he's like, yeah, I was told you to go to it. And I've been to a lot of concerts, and been to one just at the watering hole. I'll have to, ask my parents. I'm pretty sure I just watched TV. I know I didn't go to the concert. I don't think I went out with my buddies or anything. I'm 99% sure I stayed in that.
When you do go out, where do you typically go?
Well, my best friend, he lives in Hobart, so we usually stay in this area in Doozies or just right on Lineville there.
Oh, okay.
Last week we went to Legend Larry's. He likes to eat the wings. Yeah, we generally don't go out all that much. He's got 2 kids and he works a lot and he goes up north a lot on the weekends. He's just up there last weekend. But yeah, I like I said, 99% sure I was in that night. And I'm sure my dad or my mom will remember it. So if that did go out for a beer or something, then I'll call you back and say, yeah, I was here.
Okay.
I don't think I would.
Because eventually it'll come out. Obviously with the phones, and it just takes a while for us to get all this. So I just don't want there to be any surprises or.
Yeah, and I don't want to say I was at home and then it comes out that even if I wasn't at the location, that it comes out that I was somewhere else that I said I was. So
right.
I don't want to have any suspicion. And I know someone asked Vicky and do you suspect his ex-husband, because that's
Well, if you watch the news or
Yeah.
if you watch, your statistics will tell you that, especially like you said earlier, Green Bay doesn't have a lot of homicides, or hardly any, and the ones that they do have are close to home.
Statistics told a chilling truth. Murders here rarely come from strangers, but from within. The warning cut sharp, forcing him closer to the reality he tried to deny.
Somewhere somewhat tight-knit, because it's just not that random. It just doesn't happen around here. That doesn't mean it couldn't happen,
Right.
and doesn't mean it didn't happen, but it just means that the likelihood of it is a lot smaller than, we're not in Chicago, we're not in, some big city where you get snatched up off the street and someone kills you. It just doesn't happen. So that's why, typically it's someone close to home, boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm definitely not saying that it was you or anything, but, it's something that
you need to check it out.
to cross off my list.
Right.
And say, I checked out Brian, his story checked out, all that kind of stuff. As far as DNA goes, is there any reason that your DNA would be on her clothes?
Other than, from Tyler to her. We
Sure.
don't have, obviously we haven't had any contact. I don't think I even hugged her probably for at least a year.
Okay.
I don't think I even had it.
So no sexual contact at all since.
No.
Okay. Because that's all type of stuff that obviously will be checked, with DNA too. That just takes a little bit longer. Even if there would have been a condom used or whatever, there's still skin that touches, and that's a real sensitive area, obviously. So it, takes in DNA better than other parts of the body.
Sure.
You can just touch somebody or touch a table and you get touch DNA. So just want to make sure there's nothing.
Nope.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming in. I got your number if you can think of anything, or if your family can think of anything further.
Sure.
Any input or any rumors that you may hear is obviously something that I'd be interested in listening to at least.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily, rumors are usually a bunch of gossip.
Yeah.
But if you hear anything, or if you think of anything further where you were that night, if you're like, oh shit, I had to go to wherever for a beer or something, just give me a call and let me know, and that way I can note it.
Okay.
In the end, truth prevailed. After trial and judgment, George Stephen Birch was sentenced to life in prison without parole for the brutal murder of Nicole Vander Heiden. The verdict closed the case, leaving behind a haunting reminder of violence within a quiet community.